What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Or evening, depending on when you're watching this. How's everybody doing? I got a good crowd, I could tell. It's already happening. Excellent. All right. What? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of day this finds you in wherever you are. Even if you're not watching this live streamed. What is up with this mic? Get this thing up here. Get this thing up here, eh? Oh, right. What is going on? Ryan West opened the doors with a food fight. There's food everywhere. I don't know what's going on. Leave these guys alone for 5 minutes, I tell ya. Michael Holland's contributing to such chaos. Shambach, good to see ya. Harrigan, top of the morning. Good to see you in the top 4 arrivals. I shall refrain from wasting food. Thank you, Harrigan. I appreciate it. The cleanup crew appreciates it. Hoos, good to see you. Morning. Jake, good to see you. Matt, Dorcas, good to see you. Glad to see you drove down the Mulholland Drive down to the 40, crossing over Wilshire Boulevard. Getting to press play on the Mortal Kombat movie theme song. Mortal Kombat! Tad, good to see ya. Michael Gurley. Gabe Dibbing. Good to see ya. Anubis, good afternoon. Mike, fantastic. I don't know why, but my NAS seems to be sinking for no ungodly reason. I don't know why it does it at this time of day and why it continues to do it, when it should only sync when there are new files. So I will have to look at that. Is it any better now? Hopefully it'll be fine. Hopefully it's better. I don't know how to even completely and utterly disable this. There, I'll just exit it altogether. Poof, by app. Hopefully that'll work. Choppy video for sure. Great. Thanks. Blake, good to see ya. He's all right with Blake. Buffering. Great. Hopefully that little tidbit fixed things. I don't know why it does that. All these things should be running when nobody's on. So hopefully that'll work. I think we're good now. Buffering appears to have subsided. Yes, great. Much better. Great, thanks. That probably was the issue months ago when this all occurred as a problem. So I don't something is going on, folks, and I will get to the bottom of this. But until then, beverage must wet the whistle, if you will. Better now, says Trumpet. Good. Maybe that's the culprit. At least now I know what it is if it fires up again. Little ASMR. I should have cracked it open into the mic. All right. I read an article today, or I saw a blog article. I'm not going to go into much details, but it will be a future topic because it was do skills in RPGs do they make all the characters the same? Which I thought was what? That doesn't make any sense. But maybe it does. I don't know. I'll have to read it. Because my thought was, well, isn't it the lack of skills that make every character the same? That's other people's argument. That's why they some people, not all of them, like to play not mechanics heavy, but I would say very custom games, right? Class-based games, not classless. Not that games without classes are classless, but they kind of are. But classless not in societal classness, right? It's omit. You know what I'm talking about. And some people like playing Pathfinder because you could custom build. If you have a fighter and you have another fighter, there are they're very different. If you're on the OSR side, they would say the same, but if you looked at them on paper, probably not. Shut your face off, right? Shut your face off, Sean. That is blasphemous talk there. Just saying. Did I miss anybody? Doc? Good to see you, Doc. Tim, good to see you. Classes and skills are so 1975. Tim, you are just, I gotta say, Tim, you're just far and away beyond everybody. It's far and away, man. Too radical. Too radical with your forward thinking gaming stuff, frame of mind. Tim has moved on to 2050. He's even past 2025, folks. Just saying. Have the ultimate classless game arrive yesterday, SLA Borg. Interesting. Some skill systems don't name skills. See Beyond the Wall. Which is playbooks, right? Is that playbooks, right, Harrigan? They have playbooks in Beyond the Wall, I think, right? I knew you wouldn't take offense at that. Well, at least I hope you wouldn't have. I know, Tim. I know you, man. I know you. Kristen, good to see you. Morning. She talk about all the good things in the hobby, like Goodman Games' Kickstarter. Wowie wow wah. I think it's going to be the biggest one yet, right? Like, well, we don't want it to be too big. Oh, whatever, dude. What is the latest drama? No, don't even bring it up. I got to say, drama is good for something. It's good for conversation sometimes. Not always. But I do have, we should get to the topic. Let's just get to the topic, right? There are skills, but they are defined by the players, Harrigan says, and Beyond the Wall. Okay, interesting. I think I have the PDF, and I started reading a little bit. I didn't get too far into it. Daggerheart. Daggerheart's a big one right now. Daggerheart uses experience that can provide bonuses if they apply, very similar to backgrounds from 13th Age. Mike O'Halloran or Akodikin is playing Daggerheart. Had some kind words to say on the Discord about it. Has gained a little interest from maybe one or two individuals. He says he's going to blog about it, so we could tune into that and see what is, get into the weeds on that thing. It'll be interesting. But Chris says Beyond the Wall is fantastic, but it really shines with the optional character playbooks. Okay, got it. So there are playbooks. It's just not the same as the skills piece, right? Michael, this guy. Look at this guy. Creeps and weirdos. Because I'm a creep. That's it. So he's responded to a Blue Sky post that was, I don't belong here. It's an RPG. And of course I had to quote that song because why not? It's what you do. Beyond the Wall is awesome. Buffering. No buffering allowed. Everybody tell... Did somebody delete it? Maybe it was gone. Bill. Actually live this week. Welcome, Bill. Wife is home from the hospital and doing well. Good. Good to know. Hope she's doing well. Hope everybody's significant others and themselves and everybody are doing well. I also have my dad's currently in the hospital. Nothing crazy. Just a big asthma flare up. So it was, they go in, they run tests and everything's fine. Everything's fine. All the tests are fine. Heart's fine. No fluid in the lungs, fine. Gets up, walks around, pulse ox like below 90. They're like, we're going to admit you. So yes, the struggle is real for health, right? So he'll be fine. I'm hoping that they give him a bunch of steroids and he'll be fine. Smoke from the fires, well, probably a few things, right? Like he's got allergies, he's got asthma, um, he lives in an environment that is not great. A smoker in the house. So yeah, and then the fires and stuff like that. So Corgi's well still queen of the domain. Sweet. Well, let's get into let's let's pivot a little bit. I'm gonna play an audio. Yeah, man. I'm gonna play an audio. I'm gonna play it, and you may recognize a voice or two on this audio. And this is used without their permission, so I will probably get a cease and desist upon after playing this. But it was something I was listening to and I'm a fan of, and it spurred things like this, kind of like flick my ear and poke my brain and say, wait a minute, there's something here. And I wonder, because I'm probably not the only person that probably thinks this or has things to say about it. And so I'm going to play this. It's about 5 minutes, a little long, but bear with me, and I'll get through this. It'll be fun. And then when people come in, get a timestamp on this thing when I start it. So when people come in, they're like, what are we talking about? They could go back to it. So let's, James, you are not overly late. Don't worry about it. So here we go. This is from Analytic Dice. Yeah, Analytic Dice, the podcast. If you're not listening to it, listen to it, because it's about combat a little bit. And I think a lot of people share the same opinions, but we're here to maybe address some of those. And can we come together and help everybody out in this GM therapy session? So here we go. Ready?
Size and dicing so many times. And even Pathfinder. So Pathfinder adds some tactics to it. I remember playing Pathfinder, but I don't remember it actually resulting in interesting combat. Some people might get knocked down, people that have bleeding damage. We love against Darkmaster. And what that's done for combat is not so much combat as story, but combat with stakes every single time. And it's not really different other than the critical hit tables. It's not much different from the stakes that are involved in Call of Cthulhu, Delta Green, even Mercenary Spies, even Tunnels and Trolls, right? Where you're just like, you could just be wiped out now. And all those games kind of really speak to your preference there, Kevin, about like who wins, and my preferences too. Who wins? Can we get on,
Right, unless there's a
what's
certain
going on
story
here?
element from the combat, let's get to the resolution. Who wins and who loses, and what's the consequence of that? That's what I want to get to.
And
Um,
that's why I like
Now,
Conan
not that I don't
2D20.
want cool moves. I mean, if some player has a
Right.
really cool idea for a cool move during combat, yeah, let's do it, man. I'm there for the cool stuff too. But let's just get through it. I mean, to come to 2 hours worth of combat to come to some inconclusive result, or you just get through to the next scene. The consequence is, well, we won after 2 hours of fighting in real time. Now we get to go on to the next scene. That's not really the consequence I'm talking about.
So the trick is, how is that emulated in role-playing games? Like I'm talking about, like the one that comes to mind, and I think I was in a conversation with Harrigan on this one, is Indy going to get the arc from the truck caravan, right? And they're fighting in the truck and under the truck and getting dragged behind the truck, being thrown through the windshield. Even just other fights where he's trying to, sneak onto the plane or whatever, and he fights that big bruiser who's really ready for fisticuffs. And I think we saw it modeled and I think why Kevin brings this up is we saw elements of that, or we could see the potential in Space 1999. Um, I like Conan 2D20, and I think often in my Conan games, because of the way momentum can be spent on special results and the way complications can happen when you roll a 20 or sometimes even a 19, it adds some interest, some stakes are there, and we can see a story emerge through combat. But too often, and I play Conan just about every Sunday night, I'm beginning to feel a little bit like Pathfinder, even in that game, because players have bought the talents, the combat talents, right? They have their optimal they have their optimal choices. And so what people always talk about these new forms of D&D is that ultimately what happens is people make their build and they just do that thing.
And
Unless the game master is
Mhm.
creative enough to be like, how am I going to challenge them and get around that, right? When it comes to this, there's like, well, I'm going to follow my algorithm. I'm going to wreck this thing.
And I just want to address Conan 2D20. We talk about it quite a bit against Dark Master and other stuff. Conan 2D20 in many ways is a broken game, right? I know it's no longer in print. I loved playing the game. I think it's great. But the talent system is broken in Conan, and the magic system or sorcery system is entirely broken in that game, right? And so anyone out there, including those listening to this call, might be working on a revision of that and just not calling Conan. There things need to be addressed in there in that game because we sometimes people critique 5e for the ability to create superheroes. Well, in Conan 2D20, that's also not out of the realm of possibility, right? When you're picking certain talents and stuff. I've abused them as much as anybody else. And that's the thing. So as we search around and we play different games, we know that the games we play are not all perfect. Conan's not perfect. Against the Dark Master's not perfect. And certainly when we played different games, we recognize, Burning Wheel isn't
Yes, I'm
perfect,
glad you
right?
brought there because if we did try out some of the more advanced combat, the question now in front of us after Jason's call is, does Burning Wheel actually tell a story through its combat? We stayed away from it. We just went for just it was very like Space 1999. What's your objective? Can you do it? Right. Burning Wheel, I don't know, more advanced combat scared us, but if we mastered it, maybe it would tell a story.
Yeah.
There you have it. If you don't listen to Analytic Dice, go check out those guys where you can find your favorite podcast. They play a game each month, talk about the game and the mechanics and some of the things that, spur a conversation, and then they'll, if somebody writes in, they may elaborate on a specific component of the game, if you will. But go and check it out. Gabe is one of the co-hosts. Kevin is as well. I don't know if he's in the chat today. But anyways, combat, when I thought about it, I'm like, what is the story that comes out of combat? And combat's being too long. I think many of us have probably experienced that as a game master or a player. Some of us love that. And that's fine. This is not to knock people that love combat-based games. And I don't think that's their point either. Like they're pretty, you do you. I think I'm speaking in the best of faith for the folks at Analytic Dice. Gabe can scold me if he would like in the chat. But, you do you. We all have our gaming preferences. That goes without saying. There is the bar, right? But having said that, for those of us that have played in not even combat heavy games, because combat heavy games seems to talk about there's a lot of combat. Combat heavy game in this context would be the combat that does ensue is very long, 2 hours, and then for what? Right? I think that's kind of what Kevin was probably getting to, is like, what does it do within the role-playing game or the story to move it forward? And so some of the things I wanted to talk about is like, how long is too long? There's talks of, Gabe was like, I'm all about the cool moves. So you talk about games like Feng Shui, or you talk about Outgunned, where you probably want to ham it up to like the action, slow-mo, Max Payne. There's a reference for you folks. Max Payne type combat, right? Like, I'm going to do this, and the person describes it and everybody at the table can visualize the coolness of the move. Rule of cool. GMs need to embrace that, in my humble opinion, to allow that in the game. Even if it doesn't say like, this sounds like 5 move actions. Come on, Sean. But if it sounds cool, throw them a bone, right? But how long is too long? What is combat going to alleviate or propel in the story? I wish Kevin was here because I am really intrigued about like, what is, what specifically, and I could probably call in, so that's my fault too. I could call into the show, and I still may. But it's like, what? First of all, combat is from conflict. So when we talk about encounters, we could even back up before the combat starts, right? Like, what is the point of the combat? Why is it happening? And so a lot of us as game masters will design an adventure like doop de doop de doop de doop. And oh, by the way, this one's going to be a combat encounter. I'm going to put a combat encounter here and a combat encounter here, which I think is like the wrong frame of mind. Oh, did I just say wrong? Oh my God, did I just say wrong? Did I just say wrong way to play? It's a mind frame. It's a mindset, because I think as game masters, what we need to do is put problems in front of the players, and that's all they are, is a problem. How you define that problem, I guess saying it's a combat encounter is defining the problem, but just say you put an obstacle in front of them. If the players choose for that to turn into combat, or maybe the NPCs do, because that's just what that's what my here we go. That's what my NPC would do. Well, then maybe that's the case, right? I don't know. Lots to talk about, right? What do we saw? And then there's like combat systems that do it really well, right? It's fast, effective. It makes sense. Nothing is lost. I mean, even feng shui is, if you're not familiar with the game, it's by Atlas Games. Check it out. But it's shticks and things of that nature based around certain kung fu style, high action. You run on shots, and it's a shot sequence, like a movie sequence, and you're doing all this stuff. But if you've ever played combat in that game, it's like, here's the game. Everything is like, high action, improvised. I'm going to pick up like soccer balls and just keep throwing them because I get bonuses on them because they're my shtick, and I'm in a, sports store, and I'm, imagine just every Jackie Chan drunken master crazy kung fu movie you've ever seen. And that's what it's supposed to emulate. But then you get to the comment, it's like, brr, move down the shots. How many shots did it take? Or action points, things of that nature. Anyways, so yes. Hope somebody grabbed the timestamp like I asked. But anyways, no worries. Tyler, good to see. I saw you sneak in. Character builds are where a lot of fun lies in certain types of games. Aaron, good to see you. I don't think combat needs to be a role play opportunity. Combat is the game, part of role playing game. Sometimes I enjoy just playing a little game, and then after we get back into role playing. Okay, right? Living for crits. James, good to see you. Whenever I hear burning wheel, my eye twitches. Did my time in Mouse Guard? I have mental scars from that system. I really wish they would have been dual wits. I really wish they had done dual wits. But that's neither here or there. Blake says, as usual, I agree with Kevin. Keep it punchy, and it needs to have a point. But does it? What is the... Okay, it needs to have a point, but what is the point? Is the point just resolving... NPC has a problem. We have a problem as players. Let's resolve this through combat. Let's duel. Pistols at dawn, right? Is it, right? Telling a story through combat is the goal. I assume they are going for with RPG combat. Yeah, all crunchy games can increase with speed or be streamlined with group system mastery, which is true. That is also a thing, right? If you, kudos to Blake for putting that out there. You can run some of this very, very quickly. Great. The problem is not everybody at the table has the same level of system mastery. It's just highly unlikely. How many times have you played with maybe even two players, and then you guys know the system so well, and say it's like Pathfinder. I don't want to pick on Pathfinder, but Pathfinder's kind of intense, if you will, right? There's a lot of options and a lot of things and a lot of tactical things that you can do to complement each other. And I'll go off of Pathfinder 1 because I'm not familiar with Pathfinder 2. But, it's, well, can I do this can I not do this? So if you take video game and people get driven nuts about video games, dude, if I wanted this, I'd play a video game, right? Where it's like, I'll just move my tune, and click a couple buttons and it does all the calculations and resolutions, right? And some of those video games are directly evolved and derived from tabletop. Knights of, what is it? Oh, what is it? KOTOR? Knights of the Republic? The Old Republic? Knights of the Old Republic? Like that was, like, I think that was literally like ripped out of D20, and it would like do everything to resolve it. So it wasn't like Tekken fight. It was, I'm going to do this, and then it would just do everything, die rolls, and it would show the die rolls and the results of the rolls. And it would be relatively quick, but it go through a lot of different actions. So there is something to be said about system mastery and making some complicated heavy tactical role-playing game systems move very fast. Nubis, my experience is that a system which has a simple and fast combat resolution mechanic can still drag and be quite boring. I've really grown to dislike meticulous combat scenes, especially if no stakes. Stakes. RPG does not need to be baked into a combat system. That is something the players and the GM can resolve with an easy conversation in prep or session 0. I mean, it was weird to me when I played in one of my buddy Doc's game, right? And we were playing like old veteran player characters where we supported a king. The king is dead. The king's son comes up and now is the duke. And that son calls us back into service to help him. And we have mixed emotions about that son, right? And we advise him and things of that nature. But he had some large scale combat, like, hey, the lizard men are going to invade from the south. What are we going to do? And there's like big, like we should go and probably scout and, large scale stuff. Well, rather than play that out and even implement some type of weird battle system, if you will, Doc would say, hey, give me a couple rolls. And then based off those rolls would say, yes, you made progress. These are gone. There's a lot of wounded over here. This is what happened. And then it's very quick. I mean, even at 7th level, if he threw goblins at us, he would just say, you go through the room and we didn't even play it. It's like you kind of go through, take out all the goblins, nobody stands, and then this is there. Was that needed? It could be. It just tells you about the conflict. It's like watching a movie scene. You're already competent. But then some players would say, well, I want to play that out. I want to be Billy Badass, and I'm using Great Cleave. And because I have Great Cleave, I could probably make 5 or 10 attacks in a row as long as I keep killing goblins, right? Lots of things. Living for Crit says, I remember a 4-hour-long Paragon tier combat in 4E with the players facing off with a blue dragon and some minions. In the end, it was just the dragon left, and the PCs only had at-will powers. Mike says, telling a story through combat seems to be based, at least in part, on the context that combat occurs and the design of the combat encounter, which I think I already read. I apologize. And there's an edit to Orcus. Sorry, I'm in RP. Ryan says, I'm tossing third ed and Pathfinder under the bus. I played those games for 20 plus years. I have a player who that's all they want. Min-max a character, stacking spells, etc. But is this combat still fun after 8 hours? And it's just some of that is where the game is derived from, right? I think that's why some of these offshoots are like, you have moves in PBTA. It's not that game. And when you come from miniature wargaming, that's that problem, I think, right? Like miniature wargaming, that's all you're doing. So you're taking a miniature war game, and oh, by the way, instead of playing the entire army and you're kind of getting tactical, you get to play one guy. And then you get to go into a dungeon, maybe to get to Braunstein, right? The game is about fighting monsters and exploration. If neither is very fun, why are we playing this? Oosh, indeed. Tim, if your combats are too long, you need to look at your reasons for playing and what other games are like. Trekkie says too long is a piece of string question. Depends on the group and what they want. Had a COC game recent where a 30-minute combat was perfect. At COC games historically where 30-minute combats would drag. Sticks? shticks. Shtick. Like, hey, that's their shtick. Or you could use sticks as the shtick. Classify my games as combat heavy as their trad fantasy RPGs, but the idea of a multi-hour combat always catches me by surprise. There it is. Kristen helped me out. My latest crush has been returned to Cypher System and Numenera. Just enough crunch for variety, but actions are fast and move quickly around the table. My sweet spot. Well, and that's another thing too, is like what systems are really good at, like who find, like, all right, time out. Hold on a second before everybody goes on a tangent. What combat system is the best system in your humble opinion, right? I don't care how it's defined in your brain, but like going to James's point, what, like, I play this game and I love this combat system because Savage Worlds, GURPS. I mean, how many millions of our role-playing games that are out there, right? It's funny because Savage Worlds is like fast, furious, and fun, and it's supposed to be like that. I also haven't, I think it's quicker, but it's also, I think, probably my lack of system mastery, right? Like fast, furious, and fun with Sean, probably not. Fast, furious, and fun with Carl Kiesler, probably a whole nother experience. Harrigan says, I'll have to call the AD boys. Have a fundamental disagreement with the take. Combat can just be an action sequence. It should be exciting, risky, deceptive, tense. That is also, I was thinking when Gabe was talking about the fight in Indiana Jones, right? The guy, the big bulk, specifically one, right? He's trying to get on the plane. This guy is like, and it's here's the thing with Indiana Jones. It's pulp. It's pulp. So you kind of have to have Doc Savage or insert whatever pulp hero swinging, landing, snakes everywhere, whatever, you know, taking on the big bruiser that is not going to lose unless something big like, I don't know, an airplane propeller comes up from behind. So I think there, to Harrigan's point, some of us just love action in a role-playing game, right? I think that's also something that has to be considered is combat kind of sucks, but we want to play action RPGs, right? Most of the time. I mean, even Lord of the Rings and Tolkien have action scenes, right? So but there is also story that complements it. So there's a balance, right? But sometimes it's just, you know, you come around the corner as you're trying to find Marion in the baskets. And then, you know, you got the one guy with the cool sword swinging around and the whole group parts. Yeah, man, that is a combat encounter. Like, no question, right? It's not, well, I try to negotiate with him. No, this guy is going to like come at you with a sword, take out your pistol and shoot him, right? Classic. Like completely improvised also, right? Ryan says, Outcast Silver Raider specifically says combat is deadly and the player should want to avoid it. Yes, we are experiencing that, although we're kind of kicking ass in ours. I mean, Karen is specifically good with a bow. Very good. Tim says there are 3 types of combat. Combat as war, combat as sport, and combat as spectacle. I cannot wait to read Tim's book, his memoirs. When is that out, Tim? This guy's just full of it. Full of knowledge. Sorry, Tim. I did not mean to have that come out like it did. Kristen says the shots are interesting. I've played Feng Shui with some people that don't use the shots as actual camera shots. I always talk about how the cinematography is happening, and I show upcoming threats. Well, it's a kind of a moniker, really. Like, I think that shot is literally supposed to kind of be an equivalent in the action movie, but it's a shot counter, right? So whether you take it literally or not. Knights of the Old Republic, thank you, as I stuttered through that. I got my hash pipe. Convoluted in the world I'd choose for Pathfinder, but we can go with intense. Pathfinder intent? I'd not want to play Pathfinder camping. Gabe, he's been silent. He speaks. Everybody, just send us video recording Harrigan and Orcus. Send it to any of us, to any of our channels on Discord. There you go. He says audio. Orcus Dorcas says, I've heard it. I've said it earlier, but a majority of the time, combat drag is not a system issue. It's a table issue, not being prepared, attention issue, and general lack of familiarity. Amen. Yes. Is it my turn yet? Oh, my turn? Plus, sometimes they're super freaking boring. Everybody roll initiative. All right. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. Okay. 4, 5. Okay. All right, you go. How far away there are they? Okay. Can I get there in a move? Yeah, sure. Okay. Shoot. Do I have my bow on me? Sure, you have your bow on you. Okay. All right. Wait a minute. Hold on. Should I cast a spell? Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. No, don't do that. I want to cast magic first, so don't go. Like, I'm gonna shoot him first, so don't go into melee. Okay. All right, I'll defer. Okay, next. Like, it's freaking sometimes just so damn boring. Sorry. Gotta get some spice, man. We need to take a shot in the arm of some adrenaline to get this thing going, right? Hey, John, good to see you. Everyone simply has their own opinion and taste on style, type, amount of combat. Indeed. Of course. Combat, I think, is a classic and huge aspect of an RPG. That doesn't mean an RPG needs combat. Indeed. Combat can get long because no matter what, some people at the table just can't understand what their options are and how to do them. Hashtag 2D20. Boy, that guy has really left a mark on Gabe. Really, he has been scarred. Well, I don't know if it's the person I'm referring to, but I was in a game with Gabe who he's like, he's alluded to it. Like, what do I do? What can I do? 8 hours, baby. Big, huge, mofo combat. Harrigan says, I also come at this from a different place. I don't have the painful grounding in 3.5 Pathfinder combat where you have CRs and a set number of encounters. John says, my only issue is that a larger group can make combat drag on and a lot of downtime between actions. Well, right, because I spent everything. Now I'm done. What am I going to, well, we got to wait. We got to do a short rest. But that's the game, right? That's the thing. That's the deal. If you go into combat and you like unload and unleash, first of all, is the combat encounter constructed correctly? So if it's not the big bad, are you just throwing big meaty hit point meat bags in front of the party and then they're spending all their stuff because they have to get through it. They have to survive. But you want to make it challenging, or do you? Do you need it challenging? Can you put in like 4 goblins and it's a party of like 4th level characters and they just walk through them and then they come across the little clue or whatever, or they rescue, right? That's why sometimes encounters shouldn't be balanced. And sometimes when we say they shouldn't be balanced, it doesn't mean that you put the big dragon on a level 1 party. It can sometimes be the level 4 party putting the level 1 or half CRs in front of the party so they could walk through them, kind of get a little tasty taste. They're badasses. Woof, woof, woof. You know, it's done in 5 minutes. And then they rescue the folks that were enslaved by, or bandits that took, innocents, prisoners or whatever. Is this where we talk about the origins of our hobby being wargaming? Well, right. Case in point. For sure. I guess so. Yes, kind of. If you're not too worried about detail, a quick and dirty mass combat system is making a single NPC for each side with HP standing in for individual members of the force. Yeah, there's ways to absolutely streamline it, for sure. Best combat system? Tune. Mic drop. Take your word for it. Depends. best 2 words ever. Newest. My preference is fast and visceral. Even if it's a high-stakes fight, I don't see why it would need to be slowed and would need to be slow and methodical if it's versus someone important. I think a lot depends on the GM, frankly. Blake says, enjoyed a change of pace with Yazabas and Golden Sky stories. However, I enjoy contests and challenges. I want some combat sometimes. Yeah, I think if you played a role-playing game and there wasn't a combat for a while, like some people, like there's also the dynamic of like, we played for 4 hours. We played an 8-hour session last week. We didn't even roll dice. The experience was surreal, right? Like, why is that? Like, what? Right? Players can slow it down, of course, but if the GM isn't pressing them, it tends to be real slow. Well, also to that point, Nubis, if you're the game master and you want to move, I mean, we've all talked about like, okay, your turn, Nubis. Oh, too late, right? Or you use a little tea timer or sand timer. You know, you got 10 seconds. 10 seconds is done. Got to move on. Next. And then the player feels like, whoa, come on, man. What's up with that, dude? Test. Best combat system. Slayers RPG. Tactical, straightforward, and light enough, but still has tactical interlocks for the players to discover. So talking about some of the best combat systems that you appreciate, which is probably starting off with Test, which will tell you how far back I am. But hopefully this will go back to Kevin. He'll be like, oh, I'll write this down. Oh, this might be one to check out. Hey, I might have to check this one out too. Right? Because sometimes we get stuck in trad games where that's kind of the deal. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of like combat games, but that's what we play. Like, we play games that are derived from this thing called chainmail. And so, yeah, are we stuck in our own bubble? Yes, that's why I'm done with those systems. I mean, I love Hackmaster 4E, and it's a bit of funny system, but even their combat isn't in an hour. Neil, good to see you. Thanks for joining. My favorite combat system is the One Ring 2E. It's quite abstract, but still tactical and fairly quick. Can be brutal as well. Right? I love your comment, Neil. It's not just I love 2E. It's I love 2E because of this. And it's abstract, tactical still, fairly quick, also brutal. Like, ooh. See, Neil's kind of like, take a little brutality. Sprinkle in that. I'm gonna take a little of this. Put that in there. A little abstractness for speed. Yes. My first Conan do D20 combat was an absolute shit show. I didn't give it the proper attention it needed as the org, and Conan is a mess. I like to run a test skirmish with the new systems now due to that. Gabe, that's the point about Indy, guys. Indy was not going to beat that guy at the plane. We needed a narrative solution for that. That was my intended point. Thank you for clarifying that. And yes. Some would say in a game, they would be like, what? What? Right? Can you imagine running that combat? Oh, I see. Although, in Gabe's defense, in all game masters' defense, it would be how it's positioned, right? The plane is slowly careening, right? Starts to careen, right? Start to turn. You know, you got to be cautious of the propeller. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Gabe says that was not combat as sport or just for fun. True. I'm a fan of Aliens combat fast, deadly, but full of options. Scoozer. That's Neil, old Scoozer. Scouser. 1,000 points for Sean's rendition of Weezer. Hey, speaking of Weezer, if you are wheezing in your chest, like my old man is, make sure you hit the like button. I don't know. I got nothing. Morning, Wayne. Finally here. Morning, Wayne. Morning, Wayne. Wayne, you'll have to go back, like, I don't know how many minutes where I played Analytic Dice on combat from their latest episode. where they talk about, what was the game? Red Mists, I think it was. Anyways, I like Combat and Mothership and Mark of the Odd games. Into the Odd, Mythic Bastion Land, Liminal Horror the most at the moment, where it's pretty rare, fast, and usually consequential. What about Combat? Right, what about it? Right? We're going to remove it from all role-playing games moving forward, Wayne. That's the discussion. DVR, you got to go back. Find out where this thing starts. Find out where the chat doesn't move for like 5 minutes. That's where it kind of is. Everybody's listening to the audio. I played audio. Player indecision is the worst. It's Harrigan, stakes. It's not all about stakes. Stakes. And Wayne might disagree, Sean, about you guys only kicking ass. Well, some of us are. Wayne Peacock's in our game. He got his character killed. Player, got his character killed. Just saying. Just kidding, Wayne. Victor, R.I.P. Victor. Shambot says, if we are looking at combat as straight action, then I would put Outgun up on display. That system really delivers on the promise of quick, bombastic, movie-style action. Boom, he said it. There it is. It's out there. Bam. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, make a decision, Mike says. What about 3, 2, 1 action? Anybody play McGuire's game? I kept up with Hambone from Vintage RPG, but I've not played his action 3, 2, 1 action game, which I think he's specifically made that to kind of address this very point. So shout out to him. Boo on Sean's ignorance about that system. Bill Payne, cast Fireball. Boom, bam, done. Right? Booyah. It's the only reason he's turned up. Well, now that they're back from UK Games Expo, right? OSR, I've run a bit of now. Combat is fast and deadly. It is indeed. But it also helps, like, you don't have a creature with 20,000 hit points. Keep the hit points low. You know, one shot could kill a person. That's fast. Options and actions are the problem in combat. Wayne Peacock. Blake says, deadly combat got my butt kicked in Vaesen a few times. Willow. Tim must have said, hey, Willow, come here. Sean's talking about combat. I'll explain. Combat as war is old school fantasy Vietnam in the dungeon. It's unfair. You don't have a lot of special abilities. It comes down to planning and foresight. Combat as sport is making it a fun migraine. It's the fun combat with special abilities and tactical decisions. Combat as spectacle is what you're describing, where there are cool set pieces and interesting things happening, but RPGs are pretty bad at this. So there you go. Willow's put out some games. Harrigan says combat needs pace, intensity, visceral moments. Agree with you, Nubis. Ryan West said, I once had a player say Ryan would never throw an encounter at us that was above our CR, as they opened a door into a room with hundreds of zombies. Keep them on their toes, right? Yeah, you think you know me? Uh-huh. I got your number. Never, ever share your thoughts at the table. Also, Blake says, also combat does not need to be to the death. Interrogation and taking prisoners give story options. Every time I have a combat, not every time, most of the times, many times, a couple, somebody wants to take one of them prisoner. He's the last one. I don't want to kill him. Got to keep him. Don't kill him. Subdual damage. Tie him up. Time to interrogate him. Combat is made fun based on the context and environment that occurs. Combat without these qualities is dull. I should say more options. Nobody's giving me systems. I should say more options and actions per player versus more turns around the table as a central decision point for design. Tim says, Sean, there are many RPGs now with no combat. Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't know why. Combat's not part of the game. I think if a human's involved, I think if you're playing a human, you have to have combat. Because, man, we are an interesting bunch, is all I'm going to say. Doc Flamingo, best GM tool to keep things moving along. Briskly is shock collars on all the players. Well, there's that. Cattle prods, all right? Sometimes imbalance can be fun. In our 4E game that went to 30th level, oh my goodness, the party was reminded that they never killed Strahd. So they went back 10 levels overland and curb stomped him. Oh, man. Nubis, instead of timing turns, I start projecting really nervous energy. I've almost yelled at players before. Oh my God. Whoa. Hey, Nubis puts out, hey, I'm going to start playing Delta Green. Anybody want to play? Well, that guy's intense, man. And in real life friends, to be clear, what do you do? Michael Gurley, I dislike typical initiative cycle in most RPGs. Can't wait to someday try the clash mechanic at Jackals. Not that it will solve all issues around combat, but Jackals. We had talks of Jackals on the Discord for a while. Perfect example of imbalanced combat that is fun would be the DCC funnel. When you have a table that has completely bought into the concept, magic happens. Farty, I enjoy combat most when it means something. You finally come across the creature or NPC that you are excited to take out. Morning, William. Good to see you. Ryan, that was terrible. Like and subscribe segue. Now I feel terrible for Sean's dad. Sorry, guys. That was pretty bad. Sorry. Not sorry. All right. Is James taking off? I see Miss James taking off. Harrison, OSR combat rules. And when he's talking about OSR is Outcast Silver Raider specifically. He's running for us. You all have options, but it's why combat should be descriptive so the players are grounded in the moment and can take actions that make the narrative flow. The more of Sean's videos you click like on, the more segments of initiative your character goes on. There you go. Blake's got it nailed. Cooper is a punk. Yeah. Kudos to Dad calling his son punk. That's hilarious. Guts. That took guts. Most feats in DCC are gold for powering interesting combat scenes. Runeslinger. One system I enjoy for combat is Ubiquity. It is efficient, rewards creativity, and supports conclusions of defeat or death. It's easy to teach as well. Good to see you. Good to see you, Anthony. Mighty Deeds are great. +1 on Mighty Deeds. Scroll. John Caldwell. I enjoy Ironsworn Sundered Isles combat. Very flexible, needs creativity, and has an option to resolve it in one roll if you want. Called Battle. Bingo. Bambo. Inflexible initiative systems can also slow combat terribly. Indeed. Harrigan's modified our initiative in Outcast Silver Raiders. It's not everybody roll, write them down. It's, if more people roll better than the opposing force, we all go and we can go at any time. Who wants to go first? Which is not a bad way. Like, I think agreed. Determine who has it. Low fantasy gaming has an interesting combat, right? If you highly succeed, and it's based on the NPC of the character, like the level, the tier of the NPC. All you have to beat is the tier. Done, right? And it's already it matters. So if you need a great success to go before the NPC, then anybody with a great success can go, and I think it's in any order. And then it's the big bad, and then it's success people, and then it's failures. It's just automatically always the same kind. Doesn't matter what the number is. It's the block that you kind of hit or fall in. Rollmaster's too deadly. The system takes the fantasy out of the genre. Harrigan's great Combat Systems, Rangers of the Midden Vale, Troika, Mark of the Odd Games, Barbarians of Lemuria, Walking Dead, Delta Green, Savage Worlds. Second on Walking Dead. I think I'm caught up. Lost 2 characters in the Walking Dead 3-hour session. Nailed the genre, tone of the game. Slow. Show. Yeah. Harrigan's a big fan of Walking Dead. One of the best iterations of the YZE. Fate and Feng Shui. Also, interesting. Feng Shui. Oof, I don't know, man. Maybe it was my experience. I gotta look into that better. More. So it seemed the side theme going on here would be that system matters. Oh, what? Maybe. It was your experience. Yeah, I think it was too. Really like Fate's Initiative. There you go. All right. Torchbearer for you obsessive bean counters. There we go. All right. Good stuff. Are we good? Are we good with the combat talk? Thank you, Gabe and Kevin, for producing content that spurs discussion, at least for me. Go check those guys out. I think I have a link down below if you want to check out Analytic Dice. Let's get into some of the stuff, right? Let's get in starting with RPG News. All right. Oh, my goodness. Where did my stuff go? It's way over here. That's no bueno. Let me pull it over here. All right. RPG News. I'm going to start out with some kind of cool. It's kind of pretty cool, actually. D&D podcasters printed a giant model of Castle Ravenloft from Curse of Strahd, and it's truly beautiful. This thing is something else. So, okay, not a fan of D&D, whatever. Not a fan of Curse of Strahd, whatever. But come on, guys. Come on. Let's talk set pieces. Come on. 3D printing, right? So this is from Behold Czech Dungeons and Dragons group, Bez Zest. Oh my God, Bez, I'm not going to be able to say your last name. Zestania? It's Zestani. Has created a 7.5 foot tall, 130 pound, so metric folks, 90 centimeters, 60 kilogram model of Strahd von Zorovich's Vampire Castle. And it looks freaking cool, man. Look at this thing. 37-hour print hours for all you 3D printers out there. Put it out on Reddit. It's monstrosity. Yeah. There you go. You want to go to the castle? It's over there in the corner. So I thought that was cool. I wanted to put that out there to everybody. Next up. Mr. Johnson Goes to Washington. This is Cephalofair Games. Mr. Johnson Goes to Washington. The Gloomhaven COO is taking a 50% pay cut to shore up business in the wake of devastating tariffs. Thought this kind of was newsworthy. You know, hey, I'm the COO. I'll take a 50% pay cut. So go ahead and read that. That's over at Rascal. If you are subscribed, you might be able to see the whole thing. If you are not, you probably can't. But I thought it was an interesting, article. Johnson attempted to speak to his representative, the California Republican representative, Kevin Kiley, about this problem, but didn't feel like his congressman knew much or even cared about what was going on and was deeply frustrated and disheartened by how little the office had prepared for our meeting, how few actual answers or pieces of advice they brought to the table, and how uniform they were with even the most basic level of comprehension around small business economics and trade or manufacturing logistics, he wrote. He wrote stating that he didn't actually get a chance to speak to Congressman Kiley, but instead spent over an hour talking to his district representative and district director. So thanks for doing that, Mr. Johnson. UK Games Expo. Holy bazonkers. So this is awards right? UK Games Expo has their own awards. We'll go into the numbers of UK Games Expo. One of the third biggest, I think, tabletop RPG or tabletop gaming conventions now. But here's some of the awards that were put out there. So the UK Games Expo People's Award winners. The award ceremony was attended by Steve Jackson, like Gygax, probably related to Luke, and Peter Adkison. So winner of the People's Choice, The One Ring, Moria, Through the Doors of Durin from Free League. People's Choice Strategy Award, SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. People's Choice Family is for Harmonies. People's Choice General Award was Australis. Best Abstract Game, Harmonies. Best Accessory, Best Board Game, Board Game, Card Game, Children's Game, Dice Game. Best Expansion, Family Game. Gaming Novelty, Miniatures Range, Miniatures Rules, Best Party Game, Role-Playing Game. Best Role-Playing Game, hence pertinent here, relative. The Magnus Archives Role-Playing Game by Monty Cook Games. Best Role-Playing Game Adventure, Doom Song, Lord Have Mercy Upon Us by Caesar Inc. And then Best Role-Playing Game Expansion, The One Ring, Moria. And then Best Variant, The Last of Us, Escape the Dark. So if you'd like to know more, they Geek Native put that out there. Thank you. Boom, bam, boom. And then let's talk about UK Games Expo, just numbers. Anybody put numbers? Anybody know the numbers in attendance at the UK Games Expo? Just any guesses? Probably won't even. If you guessed 42,000 attendees, making it the world's third largest tabletop convention, congratulations to UK Games Expo. Yeah, even higher than PAX Unplugged, apparently. So Gen Con's at 71K. Essen at 204,000 is the behemoth. Yeah, and you thought it was Gen Con or... Yeah, nope. Essen. 204,000 people. Whoa. Try to get housed in there. She. Am I right? Boom, bam, boom. I'd love to go to that UK Games Expo. Really would. Next up, news, moves, and managerial spaces. Chaosium names new CEO, and Mike Smurls leaves. He goes to Asmodee. So Mike's going to Asmodee, and the former COO, Neil Robinson, becomes the new CEO. Congratulations on the promotion, Brian, Neil, whatever your name is. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. And then Brian Holland, because that's what I said, was Brian, the marketing director of Chaosium, is becoming the executive producer for RPGs. There you go. Some of this won't matter to you because you just buy the product anyway. But nonetheless, there you go. You can all sleep on Neil's floor. Sweet. All are welcome, he said. Here, let's put it on the video so we know we had a testimonial there. He approves. And then, of course, if you are looking for a job at Wizards, they are hiring for the head of game ecosystem D&D. Just got posted a few days ago as of this video. So there you go. They posted the range because they're in Washington. They have to. But who knows if that's correct. It gives the range 148 to 206. We call that a big net. Why even put the minimum? Nobody even reads it. So there you go. If you're interested, throw your hat in the ring. You know, I might. I mean, what do you have to lose? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You thought you'd show up today and not get any awesome wisdom? You are wrong. You are wrong. There you go. That's all I had for news. Right? So let's get into bundles. I don't think I have anything. Do I? Do I have anything for? No real bundles. Print news. Let's whip through print news from Ian World. Big Bads box set. Big Bads and Creatures and Curious. Big book. Oh my God. Here, I'm going to read this. Ready? Big Bads box set, Big Bads and Creatures and Curios, the book of Big Bads, Big Bads, Creature and Curios, Big Bads GM screen by Hit Point Press. D&D 2014, hardcover supplements of GM screen, Bang Bang Boom Bam. Next one, Outgunned RPG Action Flicks Volume Deuce. Outgunned RPG Director Screen, Outgunned Adventure RPG Mission Dossier, Fall of Atlantis, Outgunned Adventure RPG Adventure Screen by Two Little Mice. Some of this I think I have from one of the prior ones. Don't think I have Action Flicks Volume 2. I might have to check that out. I should probably play the game before buying more. Next one, The Bardis' Library, issue number 6 by Legendary Games. That's for Pathfinder First Ed. Next one, Penny Dreadful, The Vile Volume by Weird Games or Wired. That's Wired Games. Through the Breach. System, Together Unto Death, Gallery of Souls by Modifius Entertainment, which is for Cult Divinity Lost, 4th edition. So for you Cult Divinity Lost fans that haven't gotten anything for a little while, there you go. And then last one, High Noon at Midnight by Monty Cook Games, which is for Cypher. PCs right across the haunted magical west where hungry tumbleweeds roam, cursed beasts slink through arid canyons, and demons and spurs drink whiskey. Little western tinge on that bad boy. So there you go. That's what's out in print. Get it while it's hot. That's all I got for there. Let's get into crowdfunding. Crowdfunding, going over to Ian World again. Check them out. Thanks, Ian World, for consolidating everything. And these are in the last throes of their campaigns, if you will. So if you watch this too late, you're probably missed out. But there's always time to maybe do a late pledge. Avatar Legends, role-playing game, Voyage of the Unity. Kind of flew under my radar. This is from Beetle and Grimm, right? It's not from Magpie Games, which did the original game. It's on Kickstarter. So this is probably their gold, right? They're going to dip this stuff in 14 karat gold and get it out to you. So $59 is the most popular pledge of print versions of the 7 booklets in slipcase and map. Now, it is in conjunction with Magpie and Nickelodeon. Of course, Nickelodeon owns the license and the rights. So $428,000. It's funded. Booyah. Next one, Astra Arcanum, the role-playing game from Metis Media. It's an original system. That is funded. Here's one I didn't even think of. That's at $239,000, right? The most popular pledge, 200 bones. 200 bones. Get PDF and print versions of the collector's box set featuring books, GM screen, cards, dice, and more. From the creators of Historica Arcanum comes a sci-fi successor. 2040-73, Earth is a memory, and humanity is trying to redefine itself. Expect space travel, cyborgs, murder, and the quest for humanity's soul. 2 core rulebooks, 3 RPG zines, which promise a system that uses D20 dice pools. What? Yeah, baby. Body systems to assign damage to instead of hit points, augmentations, easy to learn rules. Blades in the Dark. Where is this thing at? Holy cow, I bet you it's off the charts, man. Blades of the Dark Deep Cuts from Evil Hat. It's on Backer Kit. Any predictions? Get them in. Type them in. Type them in while you can. Yeah. 174,000. 174,000. 3,000 backers. So just to give you, I mean, you could have 1,000 fans and have like $100,000 Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign. So there you go. Blades in the Dark. Next one, Slug Blaster, Slime Warp, and Solder from MythWorks. It's for Slugbuster. That's over on Backer Kit. Let's see if that thing's funded. Wish they'd had it over there. $82K. It's funded. 1,000 backers. There it is. 1,000 backers, $82,000. You, too, can have a successful crowdfunding campaign. Rise of the Drow After the Fall, 5e adventure and setting from AAW Games. That's 67,000 because 5e sells, baby. Next one, Pooh. 100 Acre Hell for D&D 5e and Shadow of the Demon Lord and OSC by Mike Myler. That's some horror poo there. $790. It's like what 666 is the goal. Like it. I like the cut of this guy's jib. And it is funded. So there you go. For Roll20. I think it's just the Roll20, right? I think the RPG's out, right? Is it like just 100 Acre, Christopher left he left his magic behind. Campaign adventures, 5 gaming systems, all centered around the home of Winnie the Pooh. Okay. So it is for all those, plus Roll20 and Foundry, I think. That's kind of like a low goal for all those things. So there you go. Bam. That wraps it up, folks. That's all we have. If you've stuck around until the end, 100 XP. And if you leveled up, go ahead. Pick that combat feat. Right? I want to thank all these fine individuals for supporting me via Patreon or even here on YouTube. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And to thank you for being here live, and for you that has, all of you, or you specifically, that watch this after the live taping. Thank you very much. Very much appreciate the conversation and everybody chiming in, showing up. I really do. Otherwise, I'd be talking to myself like some crazy maniac on the edge of losing his mind. All right. If you like this, check out some of the videos I'm putting out a little more consistently. Check them out here. Thank you so much for those that have subscribed, liked, and shown up. Thank you. Be a positive force in the tabletop RPG hobby. I'll be here next week, Saturday, 8 a.m. Central Time, where I stream about and talk about all this stuff all the time. Maybe we'll talk about next week, how do skills differentiate player characters, and do they? Maybe that's a good topic. I don't know. Experience points. Did we do experience points? We might have did experience points. If we didn't, that's another one I probably want to talk about. So thank you so much. Go out and game, and we'll see you on the next one. Ciao.